I have always loved practicing law.
When I looked around that firm, I didn't see anyone I wanted to be.
50% of my class in 96 were women. And where are we? We're not 50% of equity partners. We're not 50% of CEOs. We're not 50% of these things.
Welcome, Cristina Perez Hesano, Verdicts Vogue, and I am here today with Amy Gunn and Erica Slater. Welcome, ladies.
Hi. Thanks for having us. Absolutely.
Thank
you. The best kind of start I've had.
Yay. Cheers. So I appreciate you guys making time out of your day to sit with me and talk. Just so you know, this podcast is about not only the law, but just about giving back, being real, authentic, and just kind of sharing the good and the bad, right? Because we have great times and then we have shitty times.
No question.
Right?
No question about it.
And for those who are listening, tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Go ahead, please.
My name is Amy Gunn. I am a lawyer in St. Louis. I am entering my 30th year of practice. I focus on plaintiff personal injury work, largely medical malpractice. I was at a previous firm, plaintiff's firm, for 22 years. And then earlier this year, Erica and I started our own firm, Gunn Slater.
Gunn Slater. Can't wait. We have the swag.
Oh, I know. Well,
we should have brought some. Yeah.
Didn't know. We're working on it.
Okay.
And I have always loved practicing law and representing clients and shouldering that responsibility. And it's a privilege and I love it. Well, I was going to say every day, but that would not be true. Not every single day. But it's a privilege and I really appreciate it. And you're a superstar and thank you so much for having us. We're really excited to be here.
Oh, thank you. Erica, tell us about yourself.
I'm Erica Slater. And when Amy introduces herself, I'm thinking just take that and like half it as far as practice. So we have the same practice areas. Obviously, we practice together. I'm coming up on my 15th year of practice. We have similar backgrounds in that we both went to St. Louis University and then have spent our entire practice in St. Louis. Both started at defense firms for a couple of years in practice and then have been representing plaintiffs in catastrophic accidents since then. I grew up in St. Louis, lived there my whole life, except for a stint in Milwaukee for college. My wife is Kristen, and we have two little girls, 4 and 6.
Oh, and so you have 2 boys.
So yes, shame me for not mentioning my family. Sorry.
When I mentioned them, you were going to be like, oh gosh, my family.
Yeah. So Kevin, my husband, we've been married for 27 years, and we have 2 boys. Connor's currently 22, and Nathan's 19.
And they're rugby players.
They are rugby players through and through. Very rough and tumble kids, but delightful young men.
Mine are rugby players too, just not organized yet. It's just in our living room.
6 and 4.
Yes, exactly. Good playmates, but also rough and tumble.
Are your kiddos in any sports yet?
Yes, they are soccer players, which is very stereotypical St. Louis. You grow up playing soccer. Anything else your parents put you in, it's probably not going to stick. So definitely soccer.
So how did you both meet? Was it at the former firm or how is it?
Yes, at our former firm, Erica, we would hire law clerks in law school to clerk for the summer and then work, 10 to 15 hours during the school year for 1 year at a time. And Erica was my law clerk.
Mm-hmm.
What year was that?
2009. I started working for you.
Yeah.
And I spent a year with the firm. So my second summer of law school and then throughout my third year. And when I graduated, the setup of the clerkship was not such that there was a job from that clerkship. And that's why I started a defense firm. But Amy and I always stayed in touch, and which led me back.
Led you back.
Yeah. As soon as there was an opportunity and opening at the firm, then the partner and I were like, yeah, Erica's the right choice.
So both of you started at the defense firm. And what was it that made you realize, okay, defense is not for me?
Well, I will say, I don't think I ever had that exact moment. It's a little bit of the other way around. After a number of years practicing, I loved I love practicing law. If today, it would probably break my heart a little bit, but if someone said today, you're going to have to go back to doing defense work, I would do it. Because I just love the idea of solving problems and figuring out situations. But after about 5 years of doing defense work, my job was about 30 miles away from our home, my original job. And I was pregnant with Connor, my first child, when I got an opportunity from my former firm to come join them. And all things being equal, and it was all plaintiff's work, all things being equal, it was closer to home.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt like the opportunity was there. And I do think that it fit my personality a little bit more, just really kind of in retrospect. It fit my politics a little bit more. It fit my personality a little bit more. And I felt like there was a wonderful opportunity instead of representing corporations, which again, no, everybody deserves a good lawyer. But just the idea of being able to represent an individual was really appealing to me.
And Erica?
Well, I say I started at a defense firm, but that was actually when I started practicing with an actual law license. When I was 15, I actually started at a plaintiff's firm, like just being like their office clerk. And I ended up staying at that firm until I went to law school. So they like let me work, that was my summer job every year. And so that amassed 8 years in a plaintiff's firm before I went to law school. And they just handled car accidents and some work comp stuff. It was 2 attorneys. And of course that made me more knowledgeable about what I was walking into. But even before I started working there, being a lawyer was on my radar. And so when I graduated in 2011, which put me in law school from 2008 to 2011. And if you will remember, the economy was awesome during that time.
That's how I started in bankruptcy.
Yeah,
yeah,
of course.
That's why, because it was like, that's when I graduated. And I was like,
exactly.
There was tons of work.
Yeah.
Well, and everything's about, there's merit, luck, and politics in everything we do. And my luck with that was being in law school during the recession. So, which meant the job choices were still pretty scarce. So I took the first job offer I got. And it was a good situation. And I was fortunate and lucky to not have to do something that I didn't want to do. It was a firm, insurance defense firm that threw you in right away. I was taking plaintiff's depositions like a week after I got my license. And that was great. It was a great training ground. I just, unfortunately for, I think, the situation a lot of women are in, when I looked around that firm, I didn't see anyone I wanted to be. And I didn't see myself at all, certainly. So I always knew I would leave. And I spent about 3 years there. And Amy was so good. She presented other opportunities to me. She's like, somebody called me and said they're looking for this type of, years of experience. Like I gave them your name. And I was very, again, luck coming into it. Very happy to rejoin our former firm where Amy, of course, was instructive in bringing me back there. So, yeah. And similar to Amy, this work fits my ability to be swift and make decisions. And, we get to make all of our decisions with our clients as opposed to being dictated to or given, the bounds of what defense work looks like. Sometimes.
So for those who don't know, defense work tends to be very by the book. You have to use the same type of forms. You have to use the same type of deposition outlines. You have to have a certain number of hours on each file, right?
Yeah,
exactly. So lots of people over you making decisions, dictating what happens from, people in the firm, but also more importantly, like the client, corporate client, insurance clients.
Right. And it's not an atmosphere where you're encouraged to work smarter, not harder. And that is where I think we get to shine as plaintiffs' attorneys, because all of our time is so precious and the way we spend it on a case should add value to that case. So I was working on good, complex cases on the defense, and I found a lot of meaning in that work, but being able to take the next step and having more autonomy and complexity in our work was really important to me. And I'm so glad I was able to find that early in my career.
And you said it's something that resonated with me, where you stopped, looked around, and you didn't see anybody that you wanted to be like, right? And I think that's really important, especially in the work that we do. It's still a male dominated.
No doubt about it.
Especially at high levels.
And especially, I mean,
Yes,
and there's
the attrition, you know, I love hearing people brag about the number of women in law school and associates in law firms. And I just say, but keep going in the stats story, because the attrition as women get older in the law, firms are just, I don't see the setup where it's like, here's your track, you know exactly how you're fitting in, at least not in my experience, until you could kind of take hold of it. We took hold of it ourselves and made our own destiny.
It's always been really important to me, because I recognize that if you walk into a room, this is something I say all the time, you walk into a courtroom, a classroom, a boardroom, and you don't see yourself, you don't feel instantly comfortable. And so I always want to be in that room. I mean, first of all, I just have the ambition to be in that room. But over the years, I've also learned that just being in that room encourages other people like us, younger women, to feel more comfortable in that room. And so I've taken it on sort of as part of what I want to be part of my legacy, is that people have been encouraged to keep going, because you're so right. 50%, this is years. I'm a 96 grad from law school. 50% of my class in 96 were women. And where are we? We're not 50% of equity partners. We're not 50% of CEOs. We're not 50% of these things. And I've always tried to understand that. And I know there's a lot of anecdotal information out there and a lot of reasons why we take ourselves out of it.
Or don't raise our hands to participate. Right. I mean, that's one of the biggest things for women, even women attorneys. Yes. They don't volunteer to take that leadership role.
No. But if they see someone already in that role, then it's easier to be like, oh, I can do that. She's doing it. I can do it. And that's what I've always thought was really important about just showing up.
Yeah. So, Eric, I don't know if you knew this, but Amy was my trial coach.
Oh, okay.
At AIAG. She was my trial coach. And
so you guys knew each other through the organization.
Such a good student. So strong.
She was my trial coach, and I had Rebecca Cooper was my partner.
Love.
And it was Thad Lorado and Amy as our coaches, and they poured a lot of time and effort into making us better. And we had to spent the whole week, almost like, was it 3-4 days? Yeah. Like after we had all the material, we had to get to work. Intense. It was super intense, and it was on a seat back failure case.
Complex.
It was a complex. There was 2 different issues, and I think they dropped one, but Amy was, so for me as it was handling a case like this, even though it was a real case, but it was made up people, for us anyway, because we were just playing trial. Amy made it so serious. Like I knew that I had to show up. I was like, if I disappoint Amy, I'm like, I'm going to.
I don't think she has any other speed, to be fair. She's like, I'm like, if her time is going into it, there's only one way to do it.
There was one way, and you had to show up. You had to show up. I remember the day before, and it was a great feeling too, because Rebecca Cooper is phenomenal. She is Lance Cooper's daughter, and she just has a ton of experience. And it was a little intimidating because I'm like, oh, I'm coming in, not a lot of product experience as far as these types of cases. There was an issue that came up. Coop picked up the phone, called her dad, and he kind of helped us. And I'm like, I need to step up my game. You know? But the time, it meant so much because of the time and effort that she put into us. It made us want to be better, and to the point that our closing was like, it was like standing room only. So it was a whole week's, and then you had closing arguments, and our closing argument over all of the other students was like, it was packed.
It was.
People wanted to see.
So good. It was so good. But you were so committed to that as well, and so it was easy to give advice to someone who is so, number one, eager to learn, but also just so already good in your own right. This was just a little icing on the cake. And also it was just getting more comfortable and familiar with standing up and making arguments and doing those type of things.
It was
your star girl.
Thank you. It was, for me, it was an opportunity to handle a product case without having to invest in it yet. Right. So, it was, I don't know how many years ago that was.
Opportunities are few and far between.
I mean, I think this organization is amazing, and the fact that all of the members give back to the newer members, which is something that a philosophy that I hold, and I do that in my state TLA. Yeah. I know you both put invest time in your is it law school, or what are you involved in giving back to future generations?
Well, I am was the president of the Missouri Association of Trial Attorneys. My presidency ended a couple of years ago. So in that role, it was being kind of the face of all the issues in the civil justice system that we undertake. But I have always enjoyed mentoring younger women, and younger men too, if they're interested. But I mean, I usually get calls from other women who I think somebody I have talked to says, no, Amy, they're like, I don't want to call. Yeah, call Amy. I always say, yes, let's have coffee. Let's have lunch. And I think mentoring is so interesting. I get more out of it than the mentees. People are like, that's not, people who don't believe that haven't been mentors, because what lawyer doesn't like to hear themselves talk? Number one. And just the idea that you have an audience that wants
captive audience.
It's like, like, how do you have a baby and practice law and these things? And
but you're serious. I mean, so they're serious questions, because I mean, some women don't know if they can do it because of that. Like, it falls on their shoulders. So and it makes it possible, right? So like, yeah, I'm a trial attorney. Yes, I'm a mother. I'm a business owner. I mean, and we're going to make it work.
Yeah, it's totally working.
Yeah.
So I mean, informally, I am always happy to have lunch or coffee. I've been involved in the Women's Lawyer Association in that context. And I mean, I just feel like it's important. And I try to, every opportunity I get, I try to take.
No. Eric, are you currently involved? What are you involved?
Yeah, I feel like Amy and I both have the same ethos on just being joiners and showing up. And it's how we've always lived our careers. And I learned that in part from Amy. Now, I also went to this high school that all girls Catholic high school. And I learned quite a bit about being Susie CJ, the perfect student and, daughter and sports person and clubs. And, so like, it's always kind of been how I've gone through things. And I call them legal extracurriculars. I always have to have something on the side, right? So right now, I'm on the...
Put that. It's a great saying.
Yeah.
Tons of those.
Yeah. So in Missouri, we have the nonpartisan court plan, which you guys have in Arizona as well. It's outside of Missouri, called the Missouri plan. It's the way we pick our judges. And I think that's still accurate. I read a Sandra Day O'Connor biography, and I believe she was selected as a judge in the state courts the way we pick in Missouri. So I think you still have this plan in Arizona. Anyway, I'm on the St. Louis City Commission, which is 2 elected lawyers, 2 lay people appointed by the governor, and then the chairperson of that commission is the chief judge of the appellate Eastern District of Missouri Appellate Court. And so the 5 of us will interview all applicants for a judicial vacancy informally, and then we hold public interviews for that position, and then we have a closed session, choose a panel of 3 to send to the governor, and then the governor appoints from that panel to fill a judicial vacancy. I'm in my second year of a 6-year term for that. And the vacancies come up. Last year we had 4 that we filled, and it is such a time commitment acutely when a vacancy is open. And so that is my main legal extracurricular.
That's a lot of pressure to pick up the right people on the bench.
It's an important job.
It feels like really a lot of people, you know, kind of fall over themselves and they're like, oh, you know, that must keep you so busy. And like, you know, how do you do that and your job? And I just realized I obviously care about it very deeply. It affects not just our practice, but all the people showing up in court in St. Louis. So it feels really important. So it's easy to do because of that, because I care about it.
Next week, Amy and Erica take the leap, launching their own firm and stepping into high-stakes trials right out of the gate. Tune in again next week.